Here at the Giver Marketing Network, we don't leave you drifting out in space. We connect you to a coach who will help you build and grow your marketing business. Our process acts as a guide on how to connect with other businesses, maintain good relations, and establish a presence on the Giver Marketing Network. Each member within this collaborative group will have the opportunity to leverage your talent and influence, a true network effect. If you are looking to collaborate on more projects, welcome to the Giver Marketing Network, the most trusted and highest rated collective of specialists on the planet. Here we have a group of like-minded professionals who focus on making valuable introductions and helping each other grow by teaming up. Imagine Upwork meets a network and a coach. The talent collectively includes services like visibility and SEO, creating logos, designing websites, managing social media, outreach messaging, visual storytelling, and much more. Think of what you could do with laser-focused allies, strengthening your business while offering your talents to the entire network. Click near this video for more information.
So AI is the hot topic. So be honest, okay? How many AI tool subscriptions are you paying for right now? Those of you that are using AI, right? It's probably more than you want to spend. And how confident are you that you're actually using the tools correctly? And if you're not using AI tools yet, right, how many hours a week are you spending on your marketing? Probably too many. And that's the reality for most of us, right? You're the CEO, the marketing director, the content creator, the social media manager, customer service rep. You know, AI can help you with that, but there's so many tools to choose from and it gets overwhelming. And I totally understand that, right? I'm Christine Deane, and as the Networking Diva, which is my business, right, my clients come to me for coaching and to get connected to the resources they need in order to be successful. I work with solopreneurs, small business owners, medium business owners, nonprofit leaders every day, helping them streamline their services. So if we haven't met yet, you're missing out. I'm just saying, I'm kind of cool. So when you look at who you want helping you, right, it's good to know what their background is. So let me share a little bit about that. So I'm the founder of the Networking Diva. My whole concept is it's marketing, but it's with strategy. And it's really, I only work with those that are on a mission to do good in the world. So if that's your goal, is to do good in the world, then you're my kind of people. And I love meeting you. I'm also have a role of Executive Vice President of Strategic Partnerships at Momentum Tech AI, COO. These are all fractional roles, right? At AI Innovation Allies. Play the role of CMO, so Chief Marketing Officer for a lot of small businesses and small medium businesses. And I'm a former college professor, so I love the teaching space. So we're in my happy place right now. So thanks for joining me today for my happy place. So as we look at the whole topic of AI, this is something I've really been diving into, and it's not something I meant to dive into. It was kind of by accident. And so if you're like me and you try to catch up, well, so now I'm in so deep that I can't imagine life without it. So you're probably ready to, think about how can I use my resources wisely? So today we're going to talk about the 4 core marketing functions every solopreneur needs, and then how to evaluate your AI tool strategy, not just chasing shiny objects, because there's so many new ones out there, right? That it's hard to keep track of what you're looking at, right? And we're going to talk about my personal recommended tool set. So that's kind of where we're rolling right now. And so are you ready? I have tested dozens of tools so that you don't have to. So this is my gift to you. My give back is to let you know a little bit what I've been studying with it and what I've discovered. So for marketing, right, you can make your marketing life so much easier, right? So when you look at platform-specific content creation, that's one of the first things we want to look at. Now there's 4 different areas, right? And we really want to look at not only the platform content creation, but also you can use it for SEO, powered content. You can also use it for that professional visual content that you need, and then the conversion infrastructure. So those are going to be the areas that we focus on first. So that being the case, let's jump right into the platform specific content creation. I know it sounds like a big mouthful, but think about it. Okay. You've written this great post, you put it on LinkedIn, you copy and paste it into Instagram, and nothing, right? You just got crickets. Why? Because it has different requirements, right? So when we think, okay, I'm just going to create something and then post it everywhere, well, that's probably not the most effective way to run it, because what happens is it's a different kind of audience. They're looking for different things. So maybe you try Facebook or TikTok and you have the same kind of problem. You try and put the same content on LinkedIn and just copy and paste it in TikTok, you're probably not getting the same kind of thing because you probably forgot to do a song and dance to go with it, right? But really what you want to think about is where your audience is and what makes sense for your organization, right? So when we're looking at LinkedIn, right, you need the professional thought leadership, and it requires a longer form content, right? So anything that you were to put on Instagram might not necessarily do as well on LinkedIn either, right? So Instagram needs more visual storytelling, right? So if you've got a business that has a lot of visuals in it, right, that's fantastic. Things are going to pull our heartstrings. I don't know about you, but my stream is full of puppies, okay? I'm just saying, you want to get my attention, put up some puppies. So where you want to put your content really depends on where your audience is. But if you're going to go across multiple platforms, you want to make sure you're putting the right content up, right? So when it comes to, for example, LinkedIn, not so big on the hashtags, but hashtags are huge with Instagram, right? YouTube, you need to have a hook, right? Within 3 seconds. You have to be amazing within the first 3 seconds of opening your mouth. Ouch, talk about pressure, right? So that's not going to be the same content as LinkedIn, right? So you can have the same types of content, but how you present it and how you do it needs to be different, right? TikTok's all about trending, feeling, that native feel, like we're real, honest people and really authentic, right? Twitter, though, that's short one. I have to tell you, Twitter's not my strength, but you really need to be short, punchy, concise messages. And that's a lot of pressure. So you certainly can't put a LinkedIn post, which is a long post, into your Twitter feed unless you're just linking back to it, right? Because that's just not going to even fit. They have a requirement on how many you can put in, right? There's a limit, right? And Facebook's really about building community, and you need that community engagement. I know I built mine up to 9,000. So mostly by entertaining people, right? Telling jokes. So there's different platforms require different types of content. One size fits all content fails everywhere, right? Because each platform has completely different algorithms. And so what's going to kick one isn't going to kick the other. And they're constantly changing them. So just when you think you have it figured out, boom, it's changed. Right? And you're thinking, okay, well then how, as a business owner, or as a thought leader, or as a nonprofit leader, how am I supposed to keep up with this? That's the hard part, right? Even as professional marketers, it's hard for us to keep up, let alone a small business owner who's trying to run their business in addition to everything else, right? So the different algorithms, the different expectations the audience has, right? The different content formats, that's a lot to keep up with. And then there's the time killer, right? You're manually trying to optimize every piece of content for the correct platform. I mean, that takes so much time, right? You're looking at 2 to 3 hours minimum just to take that one piece of content and redo it if you're trying to do it by hand, right? You're going to have to research the best practices, right? You're going to have to rewrite adjust the length, find the right hashtags. I mean, it just goes on. And it can be really overwhelming, right? So when you're thinking about all the things that you need to do in order to be successful on social media, and everybody says, post on social media, and you're like, oh my goodness, what a nightmare. And it's a lot for anybody, right? And you're not even doing this full time, right? That's the marketers. Hopefully you've got a, help from somebody that gives you a hand with it, because it can be overwhelming. But if you don't, as a small business owner, right, if you don't have an opportunity, how are you going to hire that many different people to help you with what you need help with? Are you going to hire somebody who specializes in Instagram and someone else who specializes in YouTube? Or, who's going to cut up your videos? I mean, there's so much to deal with. So if you're doing that 3 times a week, right, you just lost like 6 to 9 hours out of your week. I mean, that's huge. And this is where AI comes into play, right? This is really where it's going to sing, right? So when you're looking at your solutions and your opportunities, you're looking for an AI that is going to know what the requirements are for the different platforms. It's got to be something that understands the algorithms, right? It's going to be understand how to make the content for each of those. And that's where AI really comes into play, right? It understands the audience behaviors. It's not going to be just generic content generators that go everywhere. So when you're looking for an AI to help you with this, you want something specifically, right, that's going to be able to give you a hand. Because when we look at this, right, platforms unique, if you tailor it for the exact platform that you're looking at, right, you're seeing an interaction increase by 60%. That's a ton. So if you've ever posted and you're like crickets, right, it's not kicking those algorithms. Once you post in a way that makes sense for that particular platform, the algorithms kick in and they start giving you a hand, right? Now your post gets seen by more people, right? So just some ideas to keep in mind, right? So when you're looking at, I want you to keep that in mind when you're looking at your AI possibilities. You want to make sure that you've got something that will literally handle that platform specific formatting and the hashtags and all of that for you, right? Because that's a lot to remember on your own, okay? So when we look at opportunities for bringing AI into your business, social media is one of those great ways to do it. Right? You want to make sure that you're doing it specifically for that platform, and you're going to find that you have a lot more impact. Right? So if you remember, platform optimized content gets 3 to 5 times more engagement and more, depending on where you're looking at the statistics, right? So that's really worth spending your time to do it, right? So you're not shouting out, hoping and praying that somebody's going to see your stuff, right? When you kick those algorithms, it really makes a huge difference. So you get the rewarded with that, and it shows your posts to more people. If you've ever gotten any comments from Facebook or from LinkedIn, or I know I've gotten them from Facebook where it says, oh, you've been posting quality content and we're going to, show your stuff to more people. Yay, I did it right. Right. There's a Facebook professional mode that also helps guide you through that. So doing the research, right, it can be done. It's just a matter of following the rules for the platform that you're on. And if you're finding that it's too overwhelming to do too many, right, focus in on one. But with AI by your side, it's a little bit easier, right? And that process becomes a little bit smoother. So when you're looking for types of AIs to use, make sure you've got one that is tailored specifically for the different platforms. Okay, so another thing we're looking at is the SEO powered content. All right, we've talked a little bit about SEO in some of the earlier ones. If you missed those, you want to hit that up. I know Tim Palmer was talking about it. So if you missed his presentation earlier, hit that. And we have more people talking about those kinds of things later, but great topic. When a lot of times small business owners and nonprofits won't spend a lot of time on SEO, right? That's your search engine optimization, right? So you spend, let me give you an example. You spend hours, you're writing the perfect blog post, right? You publish it, and then who sees it? Hardly anybody, right? It's 12 views and they were all from your mom, right? So here's the thing. SEO can get so complicated. I remember I was hosting a networking event and our speaker had to cancel at the last minute. And so I had a good friend, Jeremiah Osment with Osment Media. And I said, hey, you want to talk about SEO? And he says, okay. And boom, launched into a 40-minute off the top of his head presentation about the 16 elements or 17 elements that he takes into consideration when he does SEO. And I was like, oh, there you go. If you can talk about it and just dive right into it instantly like that, you know your stuff, right? So that's really what you want, is you want advice from someone or something, or maybe AI, that knows their stuff, right? When it comes to SEO, it can be very confusing. And I know trying to create your content, and then when you create it and then no one sees it, it gets frustrating, right? So you want to make sure that you're getting the most views you can. So most solopreneurs skip SEO because it just feels really overwhelming, right? There's a lot of jargon. There's a lot of technical aspects, right? Constant algorithm changes, do I need keywords? Is it key phrases now? Is it, right? And we're seeing all these changes and how many keywords, what's the meta description? What is that even, right? What about alt text, right? You get all these terms and jargons and you're like, I don't even know what this means, right? Not many people can walk into a room or bust into, 40-minute presentation on SEO right off the top of their head. This is one of those things the rest of us actually have to research, right? But it makes sense. SEO is kind of like your slow crawl, right? It's something that you're building slowly, trying to get more of that people visiting your website. But even now, right, it takes so much time to do that, right? You're manually doing the work. If you're looking for the keyword research, you're optimizing your search content, you're, writing those meta descriptions and adding internal links. And that's a lot of time you're investing on that. That really is a lot. So if you can get help, once again, the AI side, right? You're looking for something that is going to be SEO friendly. It's going to be something that's going to write that way to start with, right? And we were talking about this later, and we've talked about it a little bit earlier, right? AEO, the audience experience, right? Optimization. It's changing, right? Now you want to be found in ChatGPT and that kind of stuff. I think Rajiv's going to be talking about that next, right? So there's so much involved in it. And how in the world can you keep track of it all and remember it all? It's just overwhelming. And I know, what's the last time you went in and you counted your internal links that you put on your blog, on your website? I mean, there's just so much. I look at this, I go, oh my goodness, this in itself feels like a full-time job, right? Let alone the social media and everything else that you're doing, right? So it's not just about ranking. It's about creating content that resonates with your audience when they find it, right? So like I said, you're going to want to go back and catch Tim Palmer and coming up Rajiv's for more details on that. But what I want you to look for your SEO powered content, right? Ones that build in the keyword research, ones that will optimize it for that purpose, right? Search friendly structure from the start, not as an afterthought, right? You want tools that can handle the meta descriptions, that can write the alt text, will do tell you what you should add in for your internal linking. The keyword density and search intent matching, right? Which is what's going on with AI right now. So, the AI should understand that people are actually looking what they're looking for when they search, not just stuff keywords in it, right? There's more to it than just keywords. So this is where your AI comes into play. So you want something that knows about all of that, right? Otherwise, you have to do it yourself, and that's no fun. So if you can bring in your AI, like we were talking earlier about how it's your employee that doesn't cost you as much as an employee, right? And can give you a hand with things. And I'm not going to say AI is the solution to everything, right? But it can certainly give you a hand, make life just a little bit easier. So when we look at AI, right, and using it for your SEO friendly content, it's the difference between content that just sits there and collects dust, right? And content that actually brings customers to your door. Right? Your organic search traffic, right? That builds over time. Like I said, that's kind of a slow crawl. You're building it as you go, right? And so a well-optimized blog posts can bring you leads for years, right? And if you've been looking at it with AI, the same kind of thing, you might keyword search and then something, it looks for that perfect answer for you, right? And if it's long-term like that, that's a return on investment that you don't want to ignore. So if you need to pull in some AI to give you a hand with that, that might be a good tool to look at. Okay. Now, another area we want to look at is you probably want to have AI help you with your professional visual content. Okay. So when we look at, well, what does that mean? Right? Professional visual content. The problem is when we think about video, when we think about images, right? A lot of times, I don't know about you, but when I'm scrolling, right, I always say that, and I say this all the time, the idea that we have the attention span of a goldfish. Okay. So scrolling through, unless there's a shiny object on there, we just keep scrolling past it and we don't stop a lot of times when it's just text, right? So this is where it helps to have your images, where it helps to have some video on there, right? You need those social media graphics, you need a blog, right? But all of this, I mean, if you don't know how to do media graphics, if you don't know how to create images to go along with your blog, if you don't know how to do everything to make the thumbnails for your videos, right? Who's going to make your logo? What about infographics, right? Ad creatives, all your video content, right? That's really overwhelming. And if you're not a designer and you can't afford to hire one for every single post you do, right? Maybe you've done Canva templates, right? But they look like everyone else's. Or you spend hours trying to do it, and then you still look at the end result and you go, ugh, this looks like an amateur. It doesn't even look good, right? So we have to pick and choose, right, where we're going to put our energy. And if that's just not your thing, AI might be a great solution to help you with that, right? I know I just used some recently. Some of the playgrounds we played with, we talked a little bit earlier. If you missed it, Oz was on, David Oz Ostersee was talking about AI images. So if you wanted to learn more about that one, pop back and watch that one again. But, you know, I've used it recently with clients, and somebody didn't have a smiling picture. I put it in there. I uploaded it to Nano Banana, and I told them I wanted them to smile. And sure enough, I suddenly had a nice professional headshot with the person smiling. So little things like that, right? But it takes time to go out and do a photo shoot or to do a video shoot, right? So when we've got AI to give us a hand with that, now you've got some creatives that you can use, right? Some images you can use that didn't take you as much time or cost you as much as having to go out and do a whole photo shoot, right? But you have options now. AI can help you with this kind of stuff. Just a learning curve along with any new program that you learn, right? So keep that in mind, that you have options and take advantage of them. Why not? Right? So if you don't know how to do a logo, we have programs that literally will do that. So keep your eyes open for those AI programs that do exactly what you need. We can't learn everything, right? Marketing is a huge area. And even among smart marketers, we're not all specialists in every area, right? So if you can come up with a way to make life just a little bit easier for your business or for your organization, right? Why not take advantage of that opportunity? So look for what it is that helps round out what you're already doing, right? Can you tell it's AI? Yes. And sometimes that's the point. If you've ever taken a look at some of Dustin Stout with Magi, some of the posts that he puts up, he'll put up these amazing images that he created using Magi. And I'm always impressed with recently he's sitting on I think he's at the top of a street light, sitting there at the top, right? And the spinning around. So you have the image, you have the video, you have it. I mean, so I'm pretty sure he's never sat on the top of a street light before. But at the same time, it's just interesting enough to catch our eye and something different, right? So whatever it is that you're going to do, embrace it, make sure it's on brand, right? And have some fun with it. But explore some AI tools, right? So find one that offer exactly what you're looking for. Right. So what to look for when you're doing your AI tools, right? Platform appropriate visuals, not just generic stock images, which is a lot of times you'll get from Canva, right? Because so many people have it. So you're seeing the same thing over and over again, right? You want image generation, intelligent image editing, video creation, repurposing, thumbnail optimization. There's so many different ways to do all that, right? And when you go through and you actually do it, you get results that you'll be so surprised, right? If you missed the presentation earlier with Keisha King, she was talking about video, and video has a huge impact, right? So you want to look for tools that maintain your brand consistency across everything you create, right? Things that will automatically size your content even better for the different platforms, right? The AI should understand that design principles that you don't have time to learn yourself, right? But it really helps with your brand when you've got something that looks professional, right? So the visual content is 40 times more likely to be shared. And I've had posts that have gone viral before, and it's amazing. And once it takes off and the algorithms kick in, it will keep getting shared over and over, and it'll last for a while. So if you're not taking advantage of the opportunity to add visuals, right, you're missing out on an opportunity. So it's going to produce so much better than the text-only content. It's more likely to get shared, and video content specifically generates Can you believe that? 1,200% more shares than text and images combined. That's mind blowing. Right. So if you're not currently doing video, you might want to think about that. And if you don't have the time, if you don't have the talent, you don't have the money to hire somebody to do it for you, this might be a time to consider looking for tools within AI, right? The big thing about it is looking professional, right? You don't want to put anything up that isn't on brand and isn't professional, because people are going to judge you and your credibility within those first few seconds. That whole judge a book by its cover is a true thing. So you want to make sure that you've got high quality and it's looking good, right? Those amateur visuals signal like amateur business, right? They think, oh, well, their work's like that, right? Is that somebody I want to work with? Fourth area is going to be your conversion infrastructure. Now, that's a fancy way of saying, how do you get people to convert from prospects into signed contracts and real business, right? And if you can have AI help with that, that sounds like fun to me, right? Yeah, who doesn't want to convert more people from prospect into client status, right? But that's sometimes a hard thing to do, right? The truth of the matter is it's a lot of techie stuff that comes along with this when you think about it. So, you need to have a landing page, email sequences, chat bots, website builders, right? There's so many different things, but it's very techie, right? You don't know, maybe you're not a professional copywriter, right? Maybe you can't afford to have a developer develop everything for you, right? And pretty templates don't necessarily convert, and you need the conversion if you want to stay in business, right? So driving traffic is different than having people engage, and then having them engage is a different step than getting them to actually buy, right? So if nobody's buying and your bank account doesn't match your followers, which happens quite often, right? Just because somebody has a lot of followers doesn't mean they have it set conversion, so they're making money on the other side of that. So that's an important part of your business. And when I coach my clients, a lot of times we talk about what are your multiple streams of income in your business, right? And so you need to plan that in. And maybe you start with building your following, but then how are you going to convert it after that, right? I always say, make sure you collect contact information. So even if you were to lose your Instagram account or your TikTok account, at least you've been giving away freebies, things that you can get their contact information, right? So now you've got a mailing list that you can use, and you can keep that with you even if you lost your social media access, right? So you want to make sure you're monetizing what you've got. Things need to convert. So traffic means absolutely nothing without conversion, right? You need to have those steps in place for your sales funnel so that you turn those visitors into customers. But sometimes we don't have the skills necessary to do any of this. If you've ever tried to build your own website, and that's usually one of those times you're just banging your head against the wall going, oh my goodness, if that's not your thing, right, it's going to be frustrating. So a lot of times, but hiring a web designer, right, I've seen it, on Fiverr for not that expensive, but then I've also seen people spend tens of thousands plus on a website, depending on what you're looking for, right? But it's got to convert, otherwise it doesn't do you any good. So what you're looking for with your AI conversion, right? You want AI that builds conversion-focused assets based on proven frameworks. You're like, what? It's got to be, basically, it can't be just a pretty template. It can't just look good. It's got to actually be functional, right? So you want tools that understand conversion psychology, right? They use persuasive copywriting formulas, and they're built to what actually works for conversion, right? So you want to make sure when you're looking at your AI options that they're actually building those websites to convert, and email tools, right, that are going to craft sequences that nurture leads, and chatbots, right, that guide visitors towards purchase, right? The whole goal in the end is for them to make a purchase, right? So you want to make sure when you're looking at your AI that you're picking out AI programs that are going to prioritize that conversion for you. Otherwise, you're not going to be in business very long, right? The AI should know the difference between a page that looks good and a page that makes money. Ideally, you want both. So it really does have an impact, right? If you want to, I don't know about you, but I look at these lists sometimes and I'm thinking, how in the world can a small business owner make it through all of this, right? half your day would have to be marketing, right? Unless you had a team to help you with it, right? Or unless you had perhaps an AI helper, right? So you're going to get 2 to 3 times more customers, right? When you've got versus when you've got a professional page versus the amateur page, right? You're going to have better conversion, could be up to 10% on your website, right? Say traffic without conversion is just an ego metric. Kind of like vanity vegetables, that those vegetables have been sitting in your freezer for a really long time and you're not going to eat them, but they're there because they look good, right? So kind of the same thing. You want your website to not just be vanity, you want it to actually convert for you. Otherwise, what's the point, right? So kind of keep that in mind as we're rolling through. When we're talking about website conversion when Nate talks. So this is awesome. I am really having fun with y'all. I just want to say thank you for joining us on this. I know we've got Rajiv coming up, so go ahead and give you access to the goodies that you want, right? So today we talked about platform-specific content, SEO-powered content, professional visual content, conversion infrastructure, right? And what you really want to do, though, is you want to scan that QR code because that's going to give you my cheat list of my favorite AI tool set. And I'm always updating it. So come back, visit again, right? If you want to talk more about your AI tools that can have an impact on your business, right? You want to go ahead and meet with me and I can either we can talk or I can hook you up with somebody else if there's something specific that you want. I love being part of the Giver Marketing Network because we have 150 plus, almost 200, I think, marketers now. So you have options. So if we scan that code right there, that gets you my freebie. And if you scan this code, that'll get you on a call with me. And I love making new friends. So if we haven't met yet, let's talk. I am here to help. I'm here to serve. And I just want to tell y'all, thank you for hanging out with us and have a blessed day. We will see you soon.